Fantastic. Okay, so before we get into the classroom itself, we already have so much content on so many devices. We have it on our laptops and our desktops and also our mobile phones. And what we want to do at the end of the day is to deliver our content to our learners. And with the world going green and being aware of the environment and all of that, we also want to just save on paper. So the platforms that we use for our classes and delivering content online is definitely a very effective thing to do in that regard as well. So we want to get our content to that of on the learner's devices. So we want to get it into the classroom. We want to get it onto their computers, and we also want to get it onto their mobile devices wherever possible, so that they can also have access for their own convenience any time of the day. But before we start with Classroom, it's important to know that you need to have a Google account. So you can either use your Gmail account, which is accessible to everyone and very easy to sign up for, or you can use the G Suite account. I will talk about the differences in a little bit. When you have a Google account, your content across devices is synced at the click of a button. Especially when you sign into Chrome with your bookmarks and everything. We also did a training course a few months ago, I think at the end of last year, was also this year, about how to use Google Chrome and how to sign up for your Gmail account. So if you are still sort of struggling around or struggling with that, just go and have a look at that training session. So it's important to sign into Chrome with your Google account to sync this content. And a Google account also gives you access to this big daddy called the Google Drive. Without proper knowledge and efficient knowledge of Google Drive, Classroom becomes a little bit redundant in a way. So it's also important to go back to that training that we did about Google Drive and how to the access features and the sharing rights and all of that. Because before Classroom existed, the Google Classroom platform existed, a few teachers, saying a few, probably a good few, 100 or 1,000 teachers used Google Drive to share their content with their learners. And also, this is the other thing, they wanted to get content. They wanted to collect content from the learners. And with Google Drive, yes, that is definitely possible, but it does become a bit of a schlep, and it does become a bit tricky to open up all of those sharing rights so it's on the right setting and people can't edit content and all of that. So please familiarize yourself with this, with Google Drive before you really get into Classroom, because that knowledge will definitely only just support and heighten your experience with Classroom. The other thing is with the Google account and with Drive, it works with the Google apps like Google Docs, Google Forms, slides and sheets. And all of these apps are so well integrated with the Classroom platform as well. So now Classroom is like the bridge between Drive and the delivering the content. And it's such a I'm going to imagine now that you might not have even seen Classroom before. The platform itself, the user interface is so simplified and so easy to use. And I'm not going to get into the mobile platform today, but please note that this platform on mobile devices is very simple. The learners can see what they need to do on that day. They can see their deadlines. They can see content that's been posted. And it's also very data efficient, so it doesn't use a lot of data. Now we have these little arrows going back and forth between the classrooms, the learner desktops, and the devices. And this is the main thing about Classroom, is not only can you distribute, like I said, you can also collect from the learners. And it does become a very, very powerful assessment tool as well. We're not going to really get into assessment today. That will be a later training session. That's like a deep dive into Classroom, because it does become a little bit more tricky. And when I say a little bit, it's really just a little. It's really not as daunting as you think it is. I'm going to also refer to a lot of personal experiences that I've had with Classroom, because this is the base that I'm delivering this training and presenting this training on. I'm using it for, I would say, about 80% of my assessments at the moment, formal, informal, because you have a lot of third-party apps also connecting with Google Classroom, which is amazing. So in Classroom, it acts as a distribution collection platform, as a bridge between the teachers and the learners. But I want to add something here as well. It also acts as a collaboration space for teachers. You can add co-teachers to your specific classroom, which is fantastic, because then you can share and see what other people are doing at the same time. And it does streamline a lot of other procedures and stuff as well. You can add content to Classroom, assignments. You can add integrated rubrics. The rubrics we will not get into today, and also not the quizzes. But just be aware of it, that it is doable. It is very much doable. To get the most out of the Google Classroom, you need to understand the whole Google Workspace environment, and that refers to the forms and docs and slides and all of those other apps that we have done training on that, and the videos are available if you want to recap those training sessions. So some key features in Classroom are only available in Google Workspace users for them. So this is now where the difference comes in between the G Suite package and just the normal Google Gmail package. So the G Suite is a collection of, not a collection, it's set basically for schools, and any school can sign up for free. And Yaku will answer your questions about this later, because if you have a G Suite domain, is that the correct word? I think so. For your school, you have access to a little bit more options in Google Classroom and some of the other apps on Google platform. So I'm going to be referring to the G Suite in between the training session as well. So when you have a domain, like our school is stellies.com, so my email address is Andrea Winckler at stellies.com, you get this. So you can have that as your G Suite account, whereas your normal Gmail is just Andrea Winckler at gmail.com. Okay, so let's get into Classroom. Right, so I'm going to do this from my personal Gmail account, because I'm assuming most of you probably don't have a G Suite accessibility yet. So I just want to show you what is available on the normal Gmail account. Okay, so when you open a new Chrome instance, obviously you see this, so you can navigate to Classroom. I think the easiest, if you type it into the search bar, you can access Classroom. But the easiest way for me, yes.
Sorry, Andrea, it does look like the screen is lagging quite a bit.
Oh, really?
This way. So let's just try the different way and see if the lag is a bit better that way around.
Okay, I will do that. Yaku and I had a conversation yesterday about the sharing of the desktop and the window, but my Microsoft Teams is a bit weird. So let me just stop this one. The plan is to then actually not show you from my personal account, but from my school domain, my Stellies account. Yaku, are you seeing my screen again?
Yes, I'm seeing it.
Okay. So let's flip that a bit. You might then, when you log into your personal Gmail account, you might not see some of the I see on mine that I'm presenting today. So, well, here we are. This was supposed to only be a surprise later, but now you see all of my classrooms lined up here. Your class display would look a little bit different, but let's take it from the beginning. So if you open a new Chrome tab and you want to navigate to Classroom, you go to this waffle on the top right corner and you click on that. This is the drawer for all of the Google apps, and you can move them around quite easily. So your classroom might not be sitting right there at the top. I've moved it there because, again, I use it every single day for every single class that I present. It might be down here somewhere. And if you want to move an icon there, you can just click and drag. So I will do, let's take YouTube. You just click it and you move it all the way up. You might have to do it bit by bit like that. So you just click and you drag it up. So it's very easy. You can also just type Classroom into the search bar, but again, I prefer the waffle just because everything is organized on this side. And then I click on Classroom over there. So when you open up Classroom, it will look a bit different because there will probably be nothing over here to begin with, but you will have this plus sign here at the top. So when you click on that plus, it asks you if you want to join a class or if you want to create a class. So for now, I obviously want to create a class because I want to show you specifically from the teacher's side today what it looks like on your side when you set up classes and you add content and you add assignments. So click on create class. So I also want to just help you out with best practice, because when you start creating classes, you don't necessarily know where it's going in the future or in a few years' time. When I started creating classrooms, I didn't add years, and I didn't think it would be an issue. But as I've been doing it now for a few years, I find that just adding that year to your main class's name does help with navigating through the classrooms ultimately when you have, like me, about 30 or 40 classrooms on your app. So let's call this one training. I like this thing here. I don't know what you call that upright little stripe. Classroom. We'll say section. If you're creating this class, well, let's say your grade 8 Bs. I don't even know if they use that anymore. So your section is grade 8B, and we're saying this is E training. So you might write there English or creative arts. I'm a creative arts and drama teacher, so I would put there creative arts or drama. And in the room, we're obviously not in a physical room today, so you could put there room 302, or you can just say, well, virtual for today. Let's be creative. And then it's as easy as just clicking create. Now, what it's doing in the background, it's creating a bunch of folders in your drive to be able to share your content. That's why it's taking a moment to do all of that, but that's not stuff that you need to think or even worry about. And this is your classroom. This is what all of the classrooms look like. You can't change the background. The only thing you can change is this top banner, which I will show you. I can just show you now. So you can say either select theme or upload a photo. I like personalizing my classroom banners to maybe just taking a picture of the class and putting it on there. I even have some students designing a banner for me, which is great because every time they open, it's like, oh yeah, that's the one I designed. Okay. So if you select a theme, they have some default ones there, which are great. Even if you type in your subject and you say, when you create the class and you say English, it'll give you sort of an English related banner, which is the AI, I assume. So let's see, let's go for arts because that's my field, and we'll do the popcorn. And you just click select class theme. And now it has changed. And that's it. That is as personalized as it gets. Every classroom looks the same. So the interface is exactly the same, which just simplifies the process so much. Now we need to actually have people on the classroom. Otherwise, you are screaming into the void. So we have these tabs at the top, which I'll get into in a bit. But the first one I just want to show you is people. So at the top, you have the teachers of this classroom. Well, it's me. And if I have, let's say I wanted to add Yaku as a co-teacher as well, he won't be able to join. I'll type in an email address, but our school domain is closed, so it doesn't allow anyone from outside to join our classrooms, which just take note of that is also a very safe option to have, because otherwise you might get people hacking or intruding or whatever. So it's a very safe domain, a very safe option, this G Suite. But I'll just type it in there, and I can invite him as a co-teacher.
Andrea, just to add something quickly regarding the domain that she's referring to now. This is one of the real benefits of the G Suite, is the ability to create a closed environment where you create accounts for all your students and for your teachers, and you set it up so that it is closed. It's not open to anyone with any account other than your school account. Obviously, there are settings that you can change that would allow external users to join the various domains. But it's just one of the real benefits that you get with the G Suite is creating a safe and a closed environment.
Cool. Thanks, Yaku. You have the right vocab. Okay, so I actually said invite, and now you can see here at the bottom, it will not allow me to invite him because his email address is not in our domain. So I can't actually invite him, but that's the idea, that you can invite other teachers to also collaborate with you in this classroom. And then you can go, this is me, I actually send email invitations to all of my students, because then I know it's done. But that's my personality type. I will show you an alternative way that is definitely much less time consuming than the option I have chosen. But if you want to invite your students via email, you just click on this little person with the plus on the right, and then you type in their name. So I have a lot of my students in here, so I can invite, let's say, Jean-Marie. She's one of my matric students. I hope she doesn't accept this now. So I can invite her, and when she accepts the invitation in her email, that grayed out name will become a black font. And then you know this is actually a student in your class. Now, what the G Suite platform also allows you to do is to invite guardians, so their parents or other guardians, and that is a fantastic feature if you want to be able to contact the guardians to notify them about learner progress, or like if someone forgot to do something or if assignment was late. It really does streamline it a lot, instead of going to the school's databases and just getting the email addresses from there. What's also great, if you have invited guardians to a classroom, is the classroom sends out an email every week. They call it a guardian summary, or an email summary, and it tells that parent everything about the students, not progress, but the work that needs to be handed in and the assignments coming up for all of their classrooms that they are members of. So that I find that to be actually a very good support system for what you're doing in class. I wanted to show you an example of the email, but that is on my other account, unfortunately. So now let's go back to, let's do this. So at the top here on the right, there's a little gear, and that's always your settings in Google. And it's important to just have a look at your settings and see what's happening there. So over here at the top, you can put in a class description. So let's say this is a training session for Google Classroom. And when you scroll down, this is the other option I wanted to show you on how to join, or how to ask learners to join the classroom. Yes, you can send them email invitations, but this one is definitely much less time consuming. This is an invite link for your learners. So you can also just send this via WhatsApp. You can copy that link over there and you can post it into WhatsApp, into any class groups that you might have, and they can join from there. Another option you have is that every classroom has a unique class code. And it's this little thing over there, which you can't really see. So what you do is you pull up this, the settings, or even in the mainstream, which I will show you now, and you can say display class code. When the learners go into Google Classroom and they say join class, they just type in this code and they will be a member of your classroom. Very simple. I think I will definitely try that next year and not email everyone. When we move down, we have some other settings. So the stream, which I will explain to you in just a little bit, this is an option for the stream that students can post and comment in the stream. Now the stream works like something like Facebook. You have a sort of a news feed that comes out. So all the new messages are at the top and all the old messages are at the bottom. If you do trust your students, you can leave this option open. And trust is a very strong word, but if you if you feel that your students have that responsibility to only post responsibly on your stream for everyone to see, you can keep this open so that students can post and comment. But it might be a good idea just to start out with another setting, which is this middle one. Students can only comment. So if you post something, they can only comment on it. And even that option, if you're not happy with that, you can come back anytime while your classroom exists, and you can change it to only teachers can post or comment. So a few years ago, some of my juniors, grade 8s, they didn't really understand the classroom thing yet, and they started using it as a chat room. So I just disabled everyone's commenting rights. But we'll keep this open just for now so you can see students can post and comment. And then classwork on the stream. So stream and classwork, they're two different tabs in Classroom, which I will again just get to in a little bit. But on your stream, your classwork also gets posted. So you can change the options there to either show attachment and details. That means that the post becomes visually quite bulky and long. Or you can have condensed notifications, which just it streamlines the visibility of the work on the stream. Or you can just say hide notifications. I don't like this option because I want my students to see what was posted when, and also for them to have access to it. This show deleted items, I'm not quite sure why this is here. Only teachers can view deleted items, possibly so you can go back and see if you deleted something that you actually want to use. So my Guardian Summaries over here, that is activated, and that means that that email goes out to all of the Guardians that I have invited, and I see here they have an example. So where was this? Is it? That is the sort of feel of what the parents receive at the end of every week. So you can see the student work missing from last week. There's an assignment or something that was missing, or what is due next week, and class activity from last week, what happened on that classroom. I think it's a great option to just have a look at and consider. So back to the settings. Yes, you can generate a Meet link. You can access Meet directly from Classroom with your learners in that classroom. I have not used this option. I prefer to do it a bit of a different way. But again, if you sign up for Classroom, try these things out and see what works for you, because it's not a one-size-fits-all sort of situation, and you have your own preferences. Grading, we will not get into today because that's part of the assessment training that's coming later. That's the deep dive into Classroom. So for today, we are just keeping it as simple as possible. And when you're done altering your settings, you can just click Save at the top. Excuse me. Now, let's get to Stream. Excuse me. So Stream at the top. Like I said, this is like a social media feed actually. So I can go in here, I can announce something to my class. Now this announcement is actually supposed to it's supposed to be used as a sort of an immediate announcement. Yes, you can schedule something to go out later, but there is a difference between posting in stream and posting your class work. I hope that becomes clearer as I explain. So let's just type something up here so you can see what happens. This week's planning. This is what I do. I send my seniors, my grade 10s, 11s, and 12s, I send the week's planning out every Sunday so that they know what's happening on every day. So Monday, rehearse. Tuesday, some class feedback, etc., etc., and so it can go on. Now, what's new, relatively new here, because Google they didn't used to have this, is font options. Yay, thank you, Google. So you can actually go and you can bold this, or you can underline it. You can even have this as like a bulleted list. Let's just, there you go. So that is, it looks better. It's visually easy to absorb. And then we can just go and post this, or we can add some attachments to it. I'm not going to show you the attachments here. The stream posting and the classwork posting, it works the same. I prefer to show you what all of this does with the classwork explanation that I'll get to in a second. So let's just say we're going to post this right there. And there we go. That's our first post on the stream. And let's say this was a Sunday evening. My learners will see this on Monday morning. Right, so now getting to class work. This is now where Classroom becomes a lot of fun. So over here, you have this big pink button. You can just say create. You have various options of what you want to create. You can either create an assignment. I'm probably going to touch that on that a little bit, but not a lot. The quiz assignment is a great option. A question, you can post material. This option is fantastic because something like my subject, we don't use textbooks. I literally just use Classroom. Every single thing that my learners work through is posted on Classroom and they can go back to it. It's not a piece of paper that can get lost in their backpacks. And then this option, the moment you start building your resources on Classrooms and you have some archived classrooms that you've been using for years, you can reuse posts as well. Also, when you have different sections of teaching the same subject within the same grade, you can reuse a post from a different class, which is also very, very efficient. Now, this is best practice, I think, is to create your topics before you maybe create your classroom. Now, when you start using Classroom, you might not really know how you want to arrange your topics, but as you go on, you will definitely start finding your groove and seeing what works for you. So this is now a training classroom. So let's say this first topic is going to be on Classroom. We add that, and this is now, in effect, your folders actually on the side. You will start seeing them appearing here to the left, and we have our first topic called Classroom. Let's create another topic so you can see what that looks like. This one is on Google Docs. And you will see that they start appearing here. And let's do another one called Google Forms. And now what the learner is seeing, what you see, is basically a whole lot of files being created, folders being created, and you can add files to those folders. So if we go in here, we want to create some material. So, right, something that the learners can study, that they can use. So this is not for assessment. This is basically also, it's just for distribution of content. It's not collecting it yet. So you go into material, and now you can type up the title of the material. Let's say training for, let's do this, introduction to Google Classroom. And here you can add some sort of description as well. This is an introductory course for Classroom. Again, you can use your different fonts and just to change the way that it looks. And let's explore this now. Because yes, you can upload PowerPoints and Word documents and PDFs, but going back to what I mentioned earlier, this platform does so well when you start using the Google apps for it. So the Google Docs, the Google Sheets and Slides, all of those things. You can go to your Drive very easily. And from here, you can start uploading the resources and the materials that you have created for your classes. So this has nothing to do with Google Classroom, but we were watching this from my grade 12s. It's one of their prescribed texts for the year. So I'm uploading the filmed version of the play. That's my first resource. Now let's try something else. So we can go to Google Drive again, and you can add, I'm hoping it's going to give me some Google Doc. Obviously, all of these tabs, just like you have a normal Google Drive, I'm not going to go into it, but you have various options here to explore. So I'm going to add this just so you can see. Sorry, that's all in Afrikaans, but it's not important now. And then to the right, in order for you to maintain to keep your classroom neat and tidy and organized, you should add a topic to everything that you post. I really recommend this. I mean, you don't have to do it, but I personally strongly recommend this. So you can either create a new topic, or you can create one of these. You can use one of these topics that we have created when we first started. So I'm just going to put this in the classroom topic. And I forgot to mention this before I post. You can add other things. I'm sorry, I'm getting very excited. That's why. So you can add stuff from Google Drive. You can also add websites. So if you click on link, you can add whatever website you want. Let's say I'm going to just post our school's website. Add that link, and it will automatically, I typed it in incorrectly. Let me just do it right. There we go. And it will link to that website. So if the students click on that, it will take them to the website. The other thing you can add is a file, something that you upload from your computer. I do this sometimes with PDFs if I don't want the students to, if I want it to look nice, it's just a preference. Or you can go to YouTube and add something from there. So if you use the YouTube option, it will open up a dialog where you can search for a specific YouTube video. So let's say I want to search for something on waiting for Godot again. And it will give you some options. But the problem with this dialog box is you can't preview the video. So you sort of need to know what you're looking for. I find that the best way to insert a YouTube video is to actually have the link of the YouTube video already. So if you just open up a new tab, you go to YouTube. I have Yaku's video here that I use to train myself. And we can copy and paste the URL into this option over here. And there we have the video, and I can just say add. And there the YouTube video appears. Now, before we just click post, yes, if I click post, it will immediately appear on the classroom, but as teachers, we don't always have proper working hours. So sometimes we work, at 12 at night. So maybe you want to schedule it to appear first thing in the morning for the students so that they don't necessarily get bugged with a notification on their mobile device saying that they have new work posted at midnight. So you can schedule it, and then you can choose a date, you can choose a time for it to appear, and you just click schedule, and this post will go out at that preferred time. But for now, I'm just going to click post so you can see what it looks like. And there it is. So going back to stream, you will see now that there's a notification of this new post of Introduction to Google Classroom. When you click on that, it will immediately take you to that post with all of the attachments and the videos included. That's what I mean. It's so effective. And that you also want to keep your stream clean and uncluttered so you can get to these things quite fast. The problem is if used, and I used to actually do this when I started out with Google Classroom, I posted my material on the stream because I don't even know if there was a classwork option back then, but the fact is I didn't know that it existed. So when you post your material and your assignments into the stream itself and not in classwork, it tends to disappear. Because remember, the more you post on the stream, the lower down all of these posts actually move. So now you have to scroll all the way back. And with all of that noise, it's really difficult to find something very specific. Whereas if I go to classwork and I post something specifically within a specific topic, it's very easy navigation to find what I'm looking for. So an example would be if you teach, let's say you're teaching English. So my English classroom, I actually want to show you here. You can use this, I think it's called a burger, to the left. And all of my classrooms are listed here. But I just want to show you if you teach English, for example, you can use your topics like this. So here we have formal assessment, admin general, admin term 1, admin term 2, blah, blah, blah. And it goes down to another formal assessment thing. Word of the week, Monday motivation. We have language, literature for short stories, literature for the novel, and literature for the poetry. And you can really keep it so well organized. Whereas if you use the stream option to post your classwork, that will not be possible to keep it that organized. So going back to classwork, I just want to see if I sort of covered most of the things by now. Going back to classwork, I want to make you aware of this up here. It says Meet, it says Google Calendar, and it says Class Drive folder. I have not used, well, I have used Google Calendar, but I have not used these options here. I didn't see them for some very odd reason. I would recommend that you sort of imagine that there's a big red cross over specifically this one, Class Drive folder, because apparently when people start using Classroom, some people want to insert content into that, but this is definitely not where you should post your content, because every individual has their own Class Drive folder. So me as a teacher, this would be my Class Drive folder, and everything I post in there, if I click on it, will not be accessible to my learners. They won't even know that it exists. And the same for my learners. If they post assignments into their Class Drive folders, I will not even know that it is there. So please do not post anything in there. This is where you post it. You click on Create, and you post it there. Google Calendar is an option to maybe play around with, because all of your assignments that you do set in Classroom, the deadlines can actually appear in Google Calendar. And if you find that to be convenient, that's great. I found that it sort of cluttered my calendar because I have all of my classes on Classroom, and that means about 30, 40 assignments per week going out, because it's not just formal assignments. It might be an entry on exit ticket that someone is doing, or a question that I asked in Classroom. And it's just a lot of clutter in my calendar. So again, if you want to try it, please go play around with it. I promise you, your computer will not explode. It's fun to go and play around with this stuff once you get the hang of it. So when you post, I want to show you how to create an assignment real quick. I'm not going to go into it too deep, but if you want to create an assignment, again, you clicked on create and then assignment. You have some other options here to the right, which I will get to in a second. But first, I just need to add a title. Otherwise, Google does not see it as an assignment. This is an assignment. Very aggressive. Please calm down. This is an easy. So yes, you can type your assignment here, but I've never found that to be the most effective way to do it. So I usually type out my assignments in either Google Docs, or I add a PDF and I just attach it to this assignment post. So if you go to Google Drive, again, you have the options to insert from there. And I want to show you something that I did recently. So this is, where is this now? Okay, so this is like an activity sheet for, I think, my grade 8s or 9s. And if you insert that, this little option pops up, where you create material a student cannot interact with your attachment. When you create an assignment, you're actually creating an opportunity to collect content from the learners. It's not just for distribution. And it's such a powerful tool to have, because then you have their work on a digital platform. So your classroom can burn down and you will still have the learner's work. So when you click on this, you can say either the students can view this file. So if it's just in a typed up assignment with instructions, you can say students can view the file. This option is dangerous if you don't use it correctly. Trust me, I've done it. Students can edit file. That means if you post this assignment to 30 students, they can all edit that single document. That was not fun to recover. So please be careful when you use this one. This is the one you are most likely going to use if you want to collect information from your students. So make a copy for each student. So when Peter, student A, goes into his classroom, he sees this assignment, he opens this one up, he gets his own copy and he can work on it, and then he can submit it, which is great. Now to the right, we have options of points. Again, this will be discussed much more in detail with the next training session, where we're just focusing on assessment, but you can choose any mark that you want to, not that had a number in it, but you can choose anything. You can also say that it's ungraded. Maybe it's just sort of a learner progress check-in and you just want to see what's up and you don't necessarily want to award any marks. And then you can add a due date. So let's say this is an essay that they have to do and you want to give them a week to do it. You can schedule the deadline on this option. So let's say it's due on the 10th. That's next Thursday, I think. And you can also set a time. I like setting a time because then I know it's either going to be in the morning or the afternoon, but you don't have to. So it automatically goes to midnight for some reason. So you can say, let's say 2 p.m. And there we go. Our due date is Thursday, the 10th of June at 2 p.m. And also with your assignments, you want to still use the topic option because that keeps your classroom organized. So in my classroom, for example, I have term 1 practical assignment, term 2 practical assignment, stuff like that. I will show you when we're done with this sort of basic training. I will just show you my classroom so you can get an idea of how it is actually used in real life. So let's say this is a classroom topic. This rubric option is also very cool. It is a little bit tricky, but it's very, very cool option to use, but not going to go into that now. So this assignment, you can either assign it at this very moment, or you can schedule it to go out later, or you can just save as a draft, and then you can come back and edit it and whatever later. So this scheduling option with an assignment, just so you know, I've used it for a test. My matrix had to write an essay in a very specific time limit. I think it was 40 minutes. So I scheduled the test to go out at a very specific time, and also the due time and the due date and the due time at a very specific time and date, so that I can know if they stuck to that time limitation. So it's a great option just to know that you have these alternatives as well. You can also post to multiple classrooms at once, which is a fantastic option. So like me, I have 3 creative arts classes in grade 9. So I can post to all 3 of those classes at exactly the same time. I don't have to go in and recreate the same post in a different classroom. You can also assign to very specific students, specific learners. So if I had any students in this classroom, I was sort of hoping to do that with my personal account, but now it's just me monologuing at my screen. If I had students in this classroom, I can pick out to which students I want to send this thing specifically, which is also a very cool option, especially if you have some students more interested in, whatever it might be than other students. So just say we're assigning this right now, and out it goes. Just give it a second. Probably thinking, what on earth did I just create? But before you start throwing this at your kids, you say, get onto Google Classroom, do this assignments for marks. I think a good idea is to just sort of ease them into it. So just an idea, just a suggestion is you can go and create something like just a question. So in classwork, up there, you click create, you say question, and this is a very, very simple instruction. You can create a question with a short answer or even a multiple choice. Let's go for multiple choice for now. So let's say, have you used Google Classroom before? The instruction could be, please answer this very easy question. So option 1 could be yes, option 2 could be no, option 3 could be why do you ask these things? So this is, I'll show you in a second. It's such a cool option just to get them used to the platform, because obviously if they when they're introduced to new things, it can be quite daunting, but the moment they start easing into it, and when other teachers also start using this platform, there's almost a comfort. Like my students are talking about, is this on Classroom? Have you posted this? This teacher did not actually post that thing on Classroom. It's a whole new vocabulary that they learn, and sort of a safe space. So yes, you can also grade a question like this. Let's say it counts out of 3, say 2 marks. We can set a due date, so it's due today at midnight. And let's add a topic, and we can create a topic here and just say random questions. Now let's say ask. Now this will appear in the classwork tab, but it will also appear in your stream. There it is. So if you click on that, it'll go to the question, it will go to the post, and it will give you student answers. So if I had any students in my classroom and they started submitting their answers, you will see all of the individual students' answers and work, and you can start grading them. I think what I should do is go to some of my classrooms and just show you some examples. But before I do that, Jaco, I want to check in with you and see if there are any questions, if anyone's head has exploded, because I might have been talking a bit deur mekaar.
No, Andrea, there are no questions. I see there's one person who has a hand raised. I'm going to give them the opportunity to unmute themselves if they have a question, so they can ask the question. So Pumla Siningani, I've given you the option to unmute yourself. If you wanted to unmute yourself to ask your question, you're welcome to do that. Then the other thing that I also did now, Andrea, while you were busy, I'm going to share a link in the chat to a Google Classroom that they can actually join.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that.
If you can maybe just change your sharing mode, because I think it's going to work perfectly fine, and then just show them, because you will have to join it with you're going to have to join it with your Gmail account. Just show them.
Right.
I just populated with one or two things, so then they're going to see from your side what the learner experience looks like as well.
Okay.
Just to give them a quick view of that. So I'm just going to paste the link, the join code. So just give me a second. You're a little
So should I just go to my desktop view, the desktop sharing again now?
Yes, change your desktop sharing quickly, and then you just go to your other Chrome instance so you can join with your Gmail account.
I will do that.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now, as soon as I get in here, I'm going to post a link in the Teams chat, and everyone is welcome to join this classroom as well, because I've actually loaded quite a lot of useful Google-related content onto it that you can go and explore on your own when you get time for it. So I pasted the link now.
Guess you're a busy bee, huh? Awesome,
this
thanks.
is going to be a useful addition to strengthen what you are doing as well.
Okay, now. Okay, everyone just hang tight. I just want to see how the sharing works from here. Okay, so I'm going to share my desktop now, and let's hope that the view is not too bad.
And I see there's quite a few people who have jumped into the session already.
That's cool.
My classroom. So you're welcome to go and explore that classroom. Specifically go to the classwork section. I haven't really put anything in stream. Let me just change that setting quickly.
Jaco, are you seeing my classroom? My screen.
Yes. Okay. See it?
So I pasted his URL that he posted into the chat up here into the URL bar. And this is the landing page that I got to. So it's given me an option to join. This is what your learners will also receive when they get that sharing link. Let's click on that.
Just something to add quickly, why it integrates very well with something like WhatsApp and your mobile devices. The majority of the learners are using Android devices, so they will have some kind of Google account on that device, whether they know it or not. And if they click on that link on a mobile device, it'll ask them to download the Classroom app, I'm sure, but it's very quick and easy for them to jump into your Classroom then, even if they don't know this will be the first time some of them will find out they've got a Google account.
That's very cool. I've just thought of this, by the way. Everyone using Chrome, I have figured out that you can change the colors of your Chrome accounts. As you see, this one is pink and my other one was another color. So just a little exciting tip to share. So now I'm seeing it from a student's perspective. So the previous, or the presentation that I did was from the teacher's perspective. This is from the student's perspective. So it tells me, woohoo, no work due in soon. And the teacher says, if there's no work, it's a different little message. So when we scroll down on the stream, you see some material that has been posted. It says material, material, material. There's some Afrikaans recordings and English recordings. And this is, over here, you can see that Jaco posted in the stream itself. So he posted an announcement, and this is great. So now in here, we can just comment. Hello. Thank you. There you go.
Hello, Andrea. I think we've lost you. Colleagues, just give me a second. I just want to quickly find out. I think it might have something to do with, I see we've lost quite a few people with load shedding. Yes, Andrea's just let me know that her internet has gone off. So I'm just going to just take over the presentation quickly and then continue from my side. Just to show you what we've got on here. And hopefully she can get back in as quickly as possible to just take over from me again. Right, so you'll see what you'll see in front of you now. This is the classroom that we've just created. And I see there's Garth Gabriel has added some comments, Andrea has added some comments, and Leah has also added some comments. Just give me a second quickly. I'm going to be.
Hi, Jaco, can you hear me? For some reason, I was kicked out.
Hi, Andrea. Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I just took over temporarily, so you please take back your presentation. You're welcome.
Oh, wow. I feel so rejected now. Even the internet rejects me. Okay, so I'm sure I'm seeing some comments over there. I'm going to open up my sharing. I wonder if it did that because I shared my desktop.
Just one thing, while Andrea's opening up, that I'd just like to point out what you guys see now at the moment in the stream. You'll see there's a bunch of announcements. What actually happens is when you post content in classwork, there's a setting that you can switch on and off. That means that any classwork that you post is automatically that it automatically just posts a little notification in the stream of that classwork. So it's a useful thing to switch on, because sometimes when we get over reliant on the use of technology and we expect the kids to go check the classwork and know that there's stuff there. That's why I prefer to leave that on, that there's just a notification in the stream that new classwork has been added. So what you see there is the stream, but as Andrea pointed out, if you're going to scroll, then it's just going to get lost eventually. I'm just going to stop my presentation, Andrea, so you can take over. And you'll it's eventually just going to get lost in the whole long stream. However, it is useful to just have a notification there. But the classwork you'll see is a lot more organized than the stream is. But anyway, sorry, Andrea, back to you.
No, thanks. I don't have my microphone. Yes, it is on. So when you go back to classwork, again, everything is so well organized, so easy to navigate whatever you need to see. So you have access to this classroom now. Yaku posted a lot of things that you might be able to use at some point. So I want to just stop sharing my desktop again and go back to just show you some of my classrooms, my personal classrooms, just to give you an idea of what you can do. I'm not saying mine is the best in the world at all, very far from it, but it's just to give you an idea of what is possible. So this is my grade 12 classroom. I have, I think, 11 learners in grade 12. So it's a very sort of personalized experience. But we don't chat on Classroom. That's not the point of this. If we want to communicate quickly and like get answer, like what time is that period tomorrow, blah, 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 we do it on WhatsApp. This is much more formal, also partly due to the fact that things go out to the parents, communication goes out. And you don't want to have too much noise on this classroom. So in my class work, I've tried to sort of have things organized, notes and tests and WCED, what's called resources, there you go. So let's say in Theatre of the Absurd, the Theater van die Absurde tab, I have everything related to that specific thing that we're studying. I've added a whole bunch of videos from YouTube that they can go and explore further. So this is for maybe for your higher order learner. And this is something I forgot to mention as well. We're sitting with so many different learning styles and learning preferences in front of us in every single class. And a platform like Google Classroom allows you to really cater to such a huge amount of students, and they're various learning styles, because you can put on podcasts and interactive things and quizzes and videos and articles. And yes, not all of my students enjoy reading, but then they can go and watch something on it. Yeah, I have some more videos related to 20th century ism movements, and we go down. So everything from introduction to the main material to something that they want to maybe explore later. Just to show you what you can do as well is the reuse post option. So if I go to classwork and I say create reuse post, so I'm going to try and find something from a previous year. It'll open up this dialog that shows me last year's grade 12 class, because this is the one I'm obviously using the most to repost with, because it's the most recent. Let's say I want to go back all the way. I don't think I have it. Ah, there we go, to 2019 maybe. And there's everything that I posted in 2019. I can go and find a post. And like I said, this acts like a teacher file. You can go and find previous materials and ideas and maybe reinvent some of them. So let's say I actually do want to use this. I forgot about this. So you can say reuse. This is a book I was reading the one night, and I took pictures of it because I thought, wow, this really does link with what I'm doing. I took pictures of it and I posted it on Classroom. That is how convenient all of this is. But I don't want to post this right now. I want to draft it. So click on that post button at the top on the drop down and just say save draft. To show you another thing that's possible on Classroom is the assignments, just to see what you get from students, because we've been focusing a lot on distribution. I want to show you what I have received from them. So this is the second term's theoretical assignment is here. So when they start turning in their assignments, you get this. So I've already graded, I've marked 9 of the assignments. The one student has been absent for 3 or 4 weeks, so hers is not turned in, and this one was turned in late, which you also get a notification of, so you can keep track of this, who gave it in on time, who turned it in late. And then when I go to student work and I click on let's say that this student, I can add comments over there, and then you open up the assignment from there. And I use the rubric option. I use this assessment tool, and then everything is collected in Classroom in your gradebook. So this is the last tab, just to show you. None of them are failing, so I'm quite happy to show this. So all of my students are over here, and then all of the assessment tasks and activities that I've done. Oh, sorry, I clicked back. On Classroom appears over here. But this is not actually for anything. It's just a grade to give an idea of where they are with what. But these are all actually formal assessments. So what do you call it? I publish their term marks here as well. They don't see other learners' marks. They only see their own marks. So you can do that on there without like ethical consequences. The last very cool feature of Classroom that I want to show you before we open up the chat for any sort of questions is when you have a student, what do you call it? A student, a parent-teacher meeting, like ouer aande. When you have that and you see so-and-so's parents are coming, you can go to your Classroom. You can go to that specific person. Let's say it is let's say it is Jean-Marie's. Sorry, I clicked on something too quickly. It's her parents coming to see me. They want to know what's going on. How is she progressing and all of that. I can literally see a summary of all the work that she has done on Classroom. And I can just pull that up. Again, instead of going to your school's database or pulling out a file or 10 files, you have everything summarized and compounded into your Classroom, which I think is a fantastic function. When you're done with the Classroom at the end of the year, so as you see, I have a whole lot. You can archive your Classroom so that they don't clutter up your landing page for the next year. So I have my archived classes down here. They never disappear. They are still there. I can still access all of the material in there. And it's like your own little library. It is very, very cool. So